Dex from Gaslamp Ball here, and I'm on the phone right now with Kevin Goldstein from Baseball Prospectus. And Kevin, actually, in Baseball Prospectus, just recently ranked the Padres organization, the minor league organization, as the #1 farm system in baseball currently. So all that information is in the new Baseball Prospectus 2012. You can find that stuff. You can get it now. It's awesome. I've been looking through it. Actually features some good stuff by everybody's favorite Padres blogger, Jeff Young, from over at the recently retired Duck Snorts. So, hey, Kevin, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. So could you just talk us through a little bit about what you're seeing with the San Diego Padres right now? You know, what you see with the organization, what you like, maybe some highlights.
Well, I think the highlight for the Padres right now is just kind of their cornucopia of young talent. Obviously, I'm not convinced the big league team's going to be very good this year, but things are certainly pointed in the right direction as far as guys coming. And it's a incredibly deep system, and that's why the #1. It's the deepest system in baseball by a pretty wide margin. They don't really have that one crazy stud prospect, but they have so many guys where you look at them and you go, that's an everyday big leaguer. They have so many of those guys, it's almost astounding.
Right. Is that something that, like, as a Padres fan, should we be worried about that? Like, because I've had discussions about, okay, in like the Devil Rays, for example. They've obviously built this team based on their farm system, but they had guys. They had those stud guys like Evan Longoria, the Upton, that just came through the system, and it was like, okay, this guy's going to be an all-star. Should we be worried about that we don't have that guy?
It's a fair question, and maybe. Obviously, stars are what turn teams around. Young, cost-controlled stars are what makes teams better. And is that guy there on the Padres? I'm not convinced. As much as I think they're going to be able to fill a roster out with young talent, which maybe gives them some financial flexibility to go get some players. That's the other thing. When you don't have to spend money just to get an everyday player, you have a little bit more money to spend elsewhere, and maybe that'll be a solution. But they also, obviously they have, we're talking about these upper level guys who just look like everyday players and maybe even above average everyday players. But they're certainly, really young kids, 2011 draftees and guys like that who certainly have the potential to be impact guys. It's just they're several years off. Okay,
so there's a chance that we may see some of the young guys moving into those roles then.
Sure, always. But as long as we're realistic and talking, every team has those guys.
Right.
As long as we're not saying it's guaranteed that those guys are going to turn into something huge, but who knows? Maybe Austin Hedges does. If Austin Hedges does anything with the bat, all of a sudden you're convinced he could be a star. If Joe Ross does it for a full year, all of a sudden that guy looks like an ace, and then you can play that game all we want, and in the end maybe one guy will hit that kind of ceiling level.
So is it, in your opinion, do you think, because I'm sure that you've seen some of the issues that the Padres have had, just, we had Kevin Towers in here for a lot of years, and then Jed Hoyer was brought in for, he came and sort of went in 2 years, and now we have Josh Burns. Do you see this as being sustainable, even given the fact that right now the system is really made up from 3 different GMs?
Certainly it is sustainable, just in the sense that you're pretty set for a while. There should be, over the next, let's call it 3, maybe 4 years, there should be a pretty steady pipeline of young talent. And having a pipeline that lasts 3 years is actually pretty remarkable. And so it's sustainable for a while, and where it goes from there, we don't know. We don't really have enough of a track record on the new regime to know that.
Right.